Hello, everyone. Oh, it's good to be back. I feel like I haven't done one of these in forever. I know it's just been a couple weeks, but I am so excited I mean, every time, right? So excited, but so excited not only for the Zoom, but to tell you guys about the new challenge that I'm starting for summertime. I think you guys know by now it's not your typical challenge where it's like get a six pack by summer. Like it's for us. So it's going to be something that's attainable, something that can be transformative, and something that is non-overwhelming. So I will give you guys the details on how to get involved with that challenge at the end. It'll tie in kind of with what we're talking about. And today, the name of the game is inflammation. We've been kind of focusing on that over the last couple weeks. And today, I want to focus on not so much what can we change, what can we take away, right? My approach is more so how can we add things to what we're doing? How can we add options to our life so that we just have a different set of choices? It's not that one way is bad and one way is good. I think that having a black or white outlook on a major lifestyle change sets us up for failure. We might have that initial drive to want to be motivated and be like, I'm going to change everything and I'm going to dedicate my life to this change I'm doing. Like, who's been there? You've gotten involved in some new challenge or some new lifestyle change. And it's almost like the idea of just completely having an upheaval of your life feels exciting and it feels motivating. It's almost like if you can't change little things, throw it all out and start fresh until you realize like how overwhelming that is, and how unsustainable that is to maintain when the initial motivation wears off. I've definitely been there before through the ups and downs of, like I'm going to work on healing my gut, lowering my inflammation, right? Like something new, some shiny new thing. And it just kind of leads us to feel like failures. So instead, as you guys know, in typical CCA fashion, we're going to think about how we can kind of outsmart it to make little subtle changes. And when it comes to reducing inflammation, the biggest culprit of inflammation is stress. And there's nothing more stressful than feeling like you're failing at something you're doing. So we're going to try and make it as easy as possible, make it kind of fit into what you are already doing, like everything else we try to do. All right. So I got the chat box open. I want you guys to be asking questions or telling me, if there's anything that you relate to or whatever. Feel free, add it in the chat. Okay. So we all know illness kind of thrives in an inflamed body, right? And I don't just mean inflamed like swollen. I mean inflamed systemically. Your gut inflamed. You're feeling like you're inflamed with swelling, feeling like everything's working wonky. Your hormones are off, your sleep is off, you have a different friggin' face from day to day. Those are all signs, external signs of inflammation. And it can be from a lot of different things. It could be illness. We're battling, especially those of us with thyroid illness in here. Having our thyroid messed with puts your whole body in a state of inflammation. PCOS, having your hormones off balance automatically sends your body into an inflammatory state. Inflammatory illnesses themselves are their own classification. But those of us who are, with our lovely inflammatory bowel diseases, all of those types of illnesses kind of foster this environment for inflammation. It's almost like a chicken or the egg thing, right? It's like the inflammation can cause illness to thrive, and then the illness causes inflammation to thrive. So it becomes this vicious cycle that we're kind of just stuck in, right? Stress, like I mentioned, huge inflammation trigger. Injury, as your body, I mean, it could be injury, it can also be wear and tear and stuff. Every time you move your body, whether that results in you just getting up and moving around or, God forbid, like an actual injury or whatever, your body goes into a process to repair that damage. And I've heard of the term oxidative stress. Over time, throughout the repairing of all of this, it causes inflammation if it's too much for the body to bear. So, lack of sleep, which there are a million reasons for that, right? We've talked about that in other Zooms. The abundance, and here's where you guys know me. You know, I don't like to be like, foods are bad for you, right? But if we're looking at a sense of what can be causing more inflammation in our bodies, there is a certain level of, if you have an overabundance of certain foods and an underabundance of the, and a deficit, I should say, of other foods, that can definitely put our bodies into an inflammatory state. Having an intolerance of some kind where you just simply don't break things down or digest them, they can cause inflammation in your system. Under eating, which I see it so often, and people just still really think that a lot of the things we deal with are just because all we do is eat. It's just not true. Yeah, I think that completes my little, it's a pretty good list. We'll stick with that list. Who can relate to anything on that list? Between stress, wear and tear on the body, lack of sleep, illness, undereating, eating certain foods you feel like make you more inflamed. D, all of the above, right? It's hard. I mean, a lot of this stuff is rooted in like stuff we can't really like change or help all that much, you know? It's just like life, you know, especially these days. Let's see, eating 3 meals is the most difficult thing ever. And it's so frustrating because it's like you know, people get treated like that's not the case, but really eating 3 meals a day can be a humongous struggle. Stress for sure. Do I get bonus points if I have all of it, right? You get a point each. But yeah, I mean, it kind of just puts our bodies in a state where it's like just trying to get by. And that makes it a lot more difficult for us to do things like repair and filter and process. You know, it's just too much. So, constantly feeling swollen, usually, not drinking enough water definitely adds to it because that oxidative stress. If your body is looking to repair and process the wear and tear we put on it every day, if it doesn't have things like calories and proper hydration, then that repairing isn't going to happen the way it should. And then that builds up over time. That damage builds and builds. It's all part of one big system. That's why we're going to attack this today. Like, we're going to build a foundation, like a base for just a way to live. And everything else we do kind of adds to that. But I think having the fundamentals down of like what our body kind of needs to be, have its best shot at reducing inflammation, is going to get us there. Let's see, Hashimoto's, celiac, leaky gut, easily broken bones, severe food sensory aversions, long COVID's a big one, poor sleep, PCOS, jacked up hormones. That's all me. Welcome to the club. It is a shitty club, but a fun club because we're in it, right? But nonetheless, none of us wish we were here. So for sure, all of what you just described, like dead ringer, inflammation central. So let's add stress of having to be perfect at everything on top of that. I don't know if you heard Nick sneeze, but bless you. Because evidently I think this cancels out all background noise. So, but bless. Okay, let's move on. So what helps reduce inflammation? Now, the harder stuff like sleep and stress, I have tons of Zooms on those. And it also, those things are so one-on-one and individual that's what we have our one-on-one sessions, you know, whether you're working with me or with a coach. It's trying to figure out, you know, like your individual little lifestyle things that can change, because that's so unique to each of us. Today we're on this Zoom. I want to focus on what could benefit us all, right? So, and what we can just try to work and replace. So let's work on other triggers. Now, okay, I'm going to tread lightly with this one. Alcohol. I am not like one of those people that, if you've worked with me long enough to know now, I am not one of those people that's like, no, you should never, don't do, blah, blah, blah. Because again, I don't believe that that really works. I don't believe that that's effective. I think that we're all human and we should have ways to make choices and options that suit us. And if anyone tries to force us into not doing something, even if it's ourselves, we eventually give in, right? So there's no point in me sitting here and telling you not to drink. And I'm not going to say that I'm never ever going to have a drink, me personally. That's my own thing. But I don't like to tell you don't do it, but if you're looking to reduce inflammation, and this comes from a lesson I had to learn myself, because I used to drink wine essentially every single night, and didn't think it was an issue, thought it was innocent, thought it's just wine. What's the big deal? I'm not drinking all day. I'm working, and then I'm just drinking at night. I'm having some wine at night. Before you know it, I was drinking a bottle a night. And it was very like innocent in my head. And then I switched. I was like, oh, I'll have mixed drinks some nights because I only need a couple to like feel better. And it just was a very slippery slope of what I thought. It was like a functional drinking problem, honestly. And I still to this day have to really work. Those of you who I've talked to about this, specifically individually, that I have to really check in with myself when I do have those drinks, to not let it be, let's just stop off and get a bottle on the way home. Or, like, oh, let's go out to eat somewhere where I know they have really good craft. I mean, I'm not talking about now. Now, I've never wanted a margarita more in my life, but that's besides the point. I'm talking before getting knocked up, it's just something in me where alcohol is a very innocent seeming thing. And I changed absolutely everything about my day to day. I even was drinking enough water first, like, which took me a while to do. Like, I changed all of my eating stuff. I was drinking water. I was like more, active, had a good mindset, everything. And the very last thing to change was the wine, because I thought, I'm doing everything else. How bad could some wine be? And I remember I went to like, it's a whole different story, getting diagnosed with my rheumatoid stuff. I went to a bunch of really, really crappy rheumatologists that just wrote me off because I'm young. But that's, besides the point. One of them said to me, how much are you drinking? And I was honest. I was like, I just drink wine at night. And he was like, well, how much? And I was like, a couple glasses. And he's like, would you say you ever have like 4 glasses? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, that's a bottle. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, don't judge me. It's just a little bit of wine. He doesn't know how healthy I am. And at the end of the day, he was like, that is highly inflammatory, and that's going to make your symptoms worse. And you know what? I've seen a bunch of people in the comments talking about how they get really red, really inflamed, or their toes will swell, and truly, it is really highly inflammatory. It's not as innocent as it seems. And I get, like, again, that's why I tread lightly with this. I don't want anyone to think I'm just being some weird, like, kind of person. But at the end of the day, it is something that's very difficult for our body to process and filter out. It puts our body through hell getting it out of our system. It affects, our bodies are already kind of janky, like they're just trying to get by. They're having a hard time just trugging along. And then you go and add something to that makes it even have to process even harder. So I guess it just made sense to me to be like, okay, well, let me see what it's like cutting back on that. And I really I tried to find much of a lot of the other things that I replaced, I had to have fun with it, and it had to suit my needs for me to be able to replace it. So this might not work for everybody, but I really like the idea of mocktails. They're not like super lame or uncommon anymore. A lot of really cool bars and restaurants, they have a mocktail menu now, which is great. There's, what was it, the one that I had the other day? Oh my God, I was just talking about it on a call. Olipop, I think it is, because no, there's the two. Oh, there's Poppy and Olipop. Okay, Olipop. I hope I'm saying the right one. Is really good because it has that kind of like watered down flavor that a drink would have. It's not like a straight up soda, like it's bubbly, it has complex flavor to it. And I love to add lemon juice to things for a little tartness, some extra seltzer if it is too sweet. There's plenty of ones you can buy ready made that are just alcohol free. They even have like sugar free, alcohol free ones. There's a lot of options, and I think like for me, I realized it was the anticipation at the end of my day that I could unwind with like something I only drank at the end of the day when I was like in my off time. And I think that that's really what I liked more than anything. So for me, it was easy for me to, or easier, I should say, I still wanted to drink wine. It was easier for me to go ahead and just find some mocktails that I had fun with instead, because I didn't feel like I was missing out. Like I still had my cute cup, like it was a whole thing. And I still, like I said, when I go out, I get a mocktail because it's still like the experience of partaking, I think, more than the actual alcohol effect itself. Um, and I'm just saying, if you are in a legal state or you have access to it, I don't judge, but there are great THC and CBD products out there that and I'm not saying you got to sit there and you got to get like stoned off your ass. If you do, you do. But like go for it. I'm not judging, but for those of you that's not your bag, there's tons of products now, especially if you are in a legal state, especially if you have dispensaries that you can get to, where they have like tinctures or they have seltzers available that it's not going to do the same thing to your body as alcohol would, but if you need something to kind of like take the edge off or to look forward to in that regard, and you don't want the additional, and again, in your career allows for that, which is annoying, but that's an option too. So don't deprive yourself. Add extra things in that are more fun. You can definitely text me. I love a challenge. So text me your favorite like night drink or going out drink, and I can give you some ideas that are realistic that I think you'll like, because I like to play around with flavors and stuff like that. So this could be fun. Text me about it. Okay. Oh, I wrote a point here and it was like, don't be that person that worries about like, I can't have Teflon coated pans. I gotta have glass containers in my fridge. Like I gotta use all natural deodorant and stuff. But then you go ahead and you put, you drink every night. Like I've been that person in the past. The stress of having to be absolutely on top of everything else combined with the stress that alcohol puts on your body, it's not worth it. So I put that little smart point in there to be sassy. Anyway. Okay. Adding foods that help. Now we know things like gluten, we know things like sugar can increase your inflammation. Sorry, my throat is so dry. We know that things like that can increase inflammation. I'm going to do a revisit to gluten in our next Zoom. I'm just going to dedicate it all to gluten. Now, not everybody is on that baby step. So if you're hearing this, you're like, oh my God, I have to be gluten-free. It's a part of the baby steps to get there slowly on purpose, so please don't think you're hearing this and you're like, oh, I'm behind on something. Follow your coach's lead for your baby steps or what we've discussed, or text either one of us if you have any questions about it. But there's a whole reason why gluten can exacerbate things. And there's a lot of accessibility with gluten and with sugar, right? So if you're busy, if you are, you're tired at the end of the day, you have decision fatigue around food, if you go out a lot, if you get together with family and it's part of your cultural food to eat stuff that has gluten in it, there's a lot of different things that go into it. So I don't want you to hear this and just go, I have to cut it out. There is a way to do it, right? But it can exacerbate inflammation, and so can sugar. So if we want to try and think about things to add in instead, I see Shelby, I went gluten-free for a year and didn't feel a difference. It's not the only thing. So that's the thing too. I see it online all the time. Like people preach going gluten-free as this like cure-all, and it's absolutely not. It is a part of like today's discussion. It's a part of the foundation, the base of stuff. But it by no means is the sole cause of people's issues. It's all part of a bigger picture. So just keep that in mind. So when it comes, and that's what we're going to address next week on why that works with our system the way it does. Okay. So when it comes to adding things in that are gluten-free, you want to be careful of that trap as well, because it could just be that you're adding a shit ton of carbs in its place, right? And then that can do other things to our system and affect our insulin resistance, which affects our inflammation. So I have a lot of suggestions. If you look in the classroom under my nutrition favorites, I have different breads that I have in there. I think I have them in my Amazon pantry. I can also comment that link on the video. I have recipes in the page, like on our CCA page. I have tons of recipes. I have the past ebooks. We have the Pudge Page group on Facebook, which is all like gluten-free, low-carb stuff. So there's tons, but another favorite I wanted to mention is ChatGPT. So if you're looking for things that you want to add to your repertoire, your dinner rotation, your lunch rotation, whatever, ChatGPT is great for this. I actually did a Zoom all on ChatGPT and how I utilize it. That's on the page if you search for it, right? But you can literally just go to it and type in, I need 5 different gluten-free lunches under $10 or something like that. Like, you can get so specific. You can be like, I need lunches that don't need refrigeration. I need charcuterie board inspiration lunches. Like, you can just go crazy with it. You can have fun with it. I don't know why I stuck with lunches, but I feel like that's usually our difficult ones, right? Definitely utilize ChatGPT for that, because it's some of the stuff that it pops up with, some of it I'm like, okay, turkey on a rice cracker, groundbreaking, but sometimes it'll surprise me and give me something that's like really good. And I love that they just lay it out. And then you can ask it, you could be like, can you create a list for me, a shopping list based off of this? It just can make it really convenient, take the legwork out. So I have that in the page. Definitely check that out. I love ChatGPT for like everything. It's scary. So I also have a discount code for nutrition, which I will post. You guys, especially those of you at the retreat, you heard me talking about, I suck at posting affiliate links, but I have discount codes for stuff. I will comment the nutrition code on the recording of this in the page. Okay, let's talk about some stuff we can add in that can help with our inflammation. And this is the fun part, because I think we focus a lot as a community on what we shouldn't be eating, like I've mentioned. And food is great. If you have qualms with food, whether it be ARFID territory, whether it be long COVID symptoms affecting taste, whether it be just things you've never tried before and you're afraid to try it or mess it up and spend money on it, whatever the case may be, text me or text your coach so we can figure out a way to try new things, because it's difficult for some. I'm not saying it isn't at all, but it can be really life-changing to feel like even if you gain a few more foods that you really enjoy, that happen to battle inflammation, are easy to make, they suit you, like, it just feels like you are armed with way more. So definitely text us and let us know if you need to troubleshoot some new meal ideas and stuff based on what we go over now in this list. Okay, try to stay open-minded. Fiber. Fiber is huge. Fiber lowers C-reactive protein, which is a huge inflammation indicator. And it's really good for blood sugar control, which a lot of us also have issues with, especially if you have PCOS. You tend to have, even if you don't have insulin resistance, we're really prone to spikes, insulin spikes. So fiber helps keep all that nice and stable. It can help with the gut. Some people are sensitive to it. So if that's the case, text me. We can find some alternatives for you. But fiber is a great thing. And as we learned at the retreat this weekend, I think, Jess, you're watching this, I see you, is Carbonate bread, low carb, gluten-free Carbonate bread, has 15 grams of fiber per slice. So if you're not someone who eats a whole lot of fiber in your day, add a slice of Carbonate toast, and that'll definitely up the factor. So Carbonate for the fiber win. I think the bagels have something like 30 grams of fiber in them, and the blueberry lemon bagels are really good, especially for like dunking in tea and stuff. Yum. Okay, so fiber, keep that in mind. If something has a good amount of dietary fiber in it, that is a good bet for inflammation as well. Bless you, in case anyone didn't hear him sneeze again. Fatty fish. fatty fish is a great thing. The omegas in it are exceptional for reducing inflammation. There's been study after study after study done on the benefits of like salmon and stuff. And it's relatively low in mercury as well. I've definitely been enjoying my salmon, even for Gert. I just have to cook mine, which I can't wait till that's not the case, by the way. I think it's just my brain. Like it's not even a craving. It's like I want what I can't have. I want a freaking margarita and I want some raw salmon sushi. So that's what I want out in the delivery room. Or not in the delivery room, probably like after recovery. Like when I'm back in bed and I'm like all like loopy and clean the sweat off my head, babe. I want you to get me salmon sushi and a margarita. I can't wait already. Okay. Who has issues with fish in here? Do we have any people that hate seafood? I freaking love it, man. I could live on that shit. And it's not exactly like, it's like salmon you can find good deals on. I feel like I hate that it's so expensive, like everything is these days, but trying to figure out how to like it. Come to the retreat next 2 weeks. I'll try to make some for everyone. Never really ate it growing up, but open to trying some stuff. Because can you guys hear the lemon machine going on in the background? I know I'm an old person. I'm going to keep asking to see the extent of the noise canceling on Zoom. Okay, thank you, Jess. So you're good. No, keep on juicing lemons. Nick's cooking in the background. Like the real MVP. But yeah, no, fish, it's with everything when it comes to figuring out foods. It's about texture, flavor, and overall mouth party ability, at least to me, in my opinion. So I feel like there's so many different ways to prepare things, that if your qualm with something is like, I don't like fish that's, I'm just gonna make this, I don't know. I love fish, so this is hard for me, but like I don't like fish that's chewy. Okay, we got to figure out either a type of fish or a preparation that doesn't make it chewy. I like it with a nice char on the outside. Okay, well then it would need to be like crusted or something. I like it. I don't like fishiness. Okay, well there's definitely a scale of fishiness, to fish and stuff. So I feel like if you have an issue with a type of food, try to pinpoint what exactly the qualm is with that food. Have you had it only once or twice before and it's been mushy as shit both times and you're like, bleh, or bland or something? Well, flavor that ish up, So there's always different ways. And text me because I love a challenge. I love recipes. I love giving recipes. So I could gladly walk you guys through some ways to incorporate this. My grandma used to tell me flounder was chicken, so I ate it. Aw, flounder's like a good mild one, I feel like. Okay, so veggies, same thing goes here, especially like veggies can be textural, or a lot of people who grew up eating just mushy, bland ass veggies. Well, veggies might not be the most exciting idea of a side dish for you, and that's totally understandable. But how do we make it exciting? Does it need something? Does it need some crunch? Does it need some complex flavor to it? Some nice seasonings. Do you need it to be like charred on the outside, or is there any way to kind of make it into like a raw chopped salad in a way that's flavored really good? Figure out like what it is about veggies that you don't like. But dark leafy greens are great for reducing inflammation if your stomach can handle it. Tomatoes, avocado for the same reason as fatty fish. Onions. I've been reading a lot about onions lately. Onions are just, so many different cultures. Sorry, throat so dry, I'm losing my voice. So many cultures incorporate onions in so many different ways. And it's such a good health food, and they're cheap. One of the few things that still are. So there's tons of ways to incorporate them into your diet. If you don't like them raw or you don't like the texture of them, there's still ways that you can utilize onions. So I feel like I need to do like a cooking Zoom. It's been a while. Maybe I'll be inspired after the retreat because that's what I'm going to be doing all weekend, which I loved the last go around. Okay, so also like cabbage. Cabbage is a great veggie, especially twofold inflammation, but also it's really good at balancing excess estrogens. So for those of you who are struggling with like PCOS and all the hormone imbalance, cabbage is great for us. So, and I have a lot of really good recipes for cabbage if it freaks you out. Beans, beans, beans are great. Bonus, they also contain inositol, which if you've heard of the like Ovasitol or like the D-Chiro inositol powders that they recommend for PCOS, beans contain natural inositol. So, and lots of cultures that have really great longevity, really great health, they eat beans almost with every day. I wouldn't be Greek if I didn't mention it. So, Greeks love beans and we be living. I'm just saying. So berries for also the same reason. They're low glycemic, so they're not going to affect your blood sugars with a huge spike. But the reason for that is because they are packed with fiber, which also helps inflammation. They also have tons of antioxidants in them. Anything that you see that's antioxidant, the reason that helps inflammation is it helps with that oxidative stress. So if your body has under oxidative stress because it's trying to repair all of the wear and tear you're putting on it, antioxidants assist with that. So that's why if you see anything antioxidant, it's good. It's good for inflammation. Add that shit in there. Berries happen to be full of antioxidants and fiber. And they're yummy. I love berries. I've been obsessed with frozen berry. I want to say it's a smoothie, but I make it so thick that it's like a sorbet. So good. I don't know. It is a mouth party because it's tart, it's cold. Don't make fun of me, but you have to like actually like suck on the straw. Like it's not easy. It reminds me of like a Wendy's Frosty. If you try to drink one of those with a straw and you're sitting there and you're sucking the life out of it, it's fun sometimes. It's like a form of stimming, I feel like, for me. The cold, the everything about it. So what else do I have on my list here? Olive oil. Good old olive oil. Olive oil is fantastic, highly antioxidant. It's a good fat, like the fatty fish, like avocado. It's just exceptional for its healing abilities. Again, I'm Greek. I'm very partial to the olive oil. But make sure that it doesn't have to be expensive olive oil. Costco has really good olive oil, and it's pretty inexpensive for the quantity that you get. And also TJ Maxx, what the hell? Trader Joe's. TJ Maxx actually does have good prices on like olive oils and pickled stuff, which is very weird. I was talking about that with someone today. But I meant to say Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, I think, has like $7 bottles of olive oil, and they're one source to, at least from what I'm remembering. Don't quote me on that price, but around there. Like it's not like no $30 bottle of olive oil. Where else did I see it really? Aldi. Aldi has inexpensive, like the same shit as Trader Joe's, but like has inexpensive olive oil as well. Try to go for organic, try to go for extra virgin. Don't do an olive oil blend. You want it to be like thick olive oil. If you have any questions, if you're at the store, send me a picture of the label or look it up online before you go and send it to me, and I can verify for you what I think about it as an olive oil snob. But it's fantastic. And it helps for those of us who struggle with eating enough throughout the day. It packs a punch calorically. So you can kind of boost what it is you are eating with some additional calories without having to add volume to what you're eating if you're not hungry or you're not feeling like you want to eat a lot at that moment. Pistachios and Brazil nuts. Again, it's the fat content in them. Brazil nuts and pistachios have great magnesium in them. They have selenium in them. Those also assist the thyroid, which again, we're battling because thyroid issues just lead to an inflamed body. So they're great to include. They're easy to snack on throughout the day if you're grab and go. I'm like realizing how Greek this list is. I'm sorry. It's not because I'm partial. What can I say? Google it. This is the stuff that really helps, and it just happens to be delicious. But pistachios and Brazil nuts are also, additional protein and fiber throughout the day. So big fans. different herbs and spices. Now I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna upload a list of this. I'll comment it on the recording as well so that you don't have to be writing all this down as I'm rattling it off. But so I'm gonna list a couple here, right? And now there are so many more that I'm not even listing. If you ask ChatGPT, what are 20 different herbs and spices that assist with reducing inflammation? There are tons out there. Shit's great for this. But here are the main ones. Turmeric. You've heard the benefits of turmeric. Very, very antioxidant, very great for inflammation. Ginger. Ginger is especially great for calming inflammation in the gut and the digestive system. Cinnamon. Cinnamon's great for managing blood sugars as well. It helps stabilize your blood sugars. It helps with circulation and lymphatic drainage, which is all part of the body's repairing process for that oxidative stress. Garlic, not so much an herb, or a spice, but also really, really highly beneficial. Garlic is actually exceptional at reducing blood pressure. So if you have also issues with blood pressure, incorporating garlic into your diet is going to help a lot. Cayenne pepper, if you can tolerate spice, also really great. The capsaicin, if I'm saying that correctly, in it is very antioxidant. And then black pepper and clove. You see that in a lot of like morning detox teas and stuff like that. A lot of like golden milk teas with turmeric will also typically have like black pepper or clove in it. It helps the absorption of the omegas that you eat, which are found in those fatty fishes and stuff. So if you add black pepper and clove to your diet, it actually helps your body absorb more of the benefits from the things that you're eating. So, whew, I feel like I just threw a lot at you guys. But like I said, I'm going to write this all out. I'm going to be posting this recording at some point tomorrow. I'm going to put up the links to Nutrition, to Pudge Page, to my Amazon storefront. I'm going to put that all in the comments, but I'm also going to put a list of the stuff I mentioned. If you want to be in the summer challenge, and I'm going to tell you all how it's going to work and the rules and everything in a WhatsApp chat once we get started. But if you want to be added to that chat, I want you to look at the list I'm going to post, and you're going to comment one anti-inflammatory thing you're going to incorporate. Just one. You can do more if you want, but just one that you're going to commit to including more of. So sorry about my voice. Just one more that you're going to think to include more of. And then I will add you to that WhatsApp chat. And once we're all up and running in there, I will explain how the challenge will work. All right, because I don't want to inundate you with stuff. But I am so excited to do this. Our brains love a little dopamine challenge, kickoff, a plan, a structure. And I think we're going to have a lot of good food, a lot of good tips in there. And I love running these. So if you have any questions or you have any concerns or whatever, please reach out. I love troubleshooting. So let me know how I can help support you, and enjoy the rest of your evening. All right. Bye.